In this week's video, I'm going to be telling you where and how I started carp fishing and how this channel became to be what it is today. So let's get straight into it. So this little pool is basically where it all started. And I used to come to this pool after school. I used to walk here with my mates and we'd bring little float rods and we'd cast into this lake. Obviously when it's not frozen solid, because at the moment in England we've had a lot of snow. It's been very cold. I see a bit of snow over there, but most of the snow's melted now. We had probably a good 3 inch yesterday, but that's about it. So this isn't the pond that I first went fishing in. So I'll tell you the story now. On my permit where I fish my local lake, which is open cast, there's a lake called the Cricket Ground, and one day after school my mate and his dad was going fishing and I was asked to tag along. So I've never been fishing apart from sea fishing on holidays, occasionally catching some little tiny fish on holiday, but I've never really been drawn to fishing or done much of it in the past before that. So I snapped off his hand for the offer because it's something new to try. So I went fishing, just float fishing. My mate's dad was carp fishing, me and my mate were float fishing maggots, and I caught my first little perch. It was probably about that big, and to this day I still remember that perch, but it spiked me in the hands. I didn't know perch had spikes at the times, and the gills also cut my hand, and I've actually still got the mark on my hands right there from being spiked by that perch. So I've got a little memory there on my hand. And the first, after that session, one of my mum's mates asked me if I wanted to go carp fishing with him. I snapped off his hand to the offer again, and I went carp fishing with him. He only had his rods. I had no carp rods. I've never been carp fishing before. So he casted the rods and he said to me, next fish that goes off is yours. So was it my fish? He casted the rods, there is rods, all that. But it was my first time carp fishing, me first time trying it out. So we waited a couple hours and I caught this fish that's on the screen now, and you can see, you can definitely tell it's my first carp. How I was holding that fish, I was bear hugging it, but it was my first carp and I was super chuffed with it. I think we weighed it in at about 12 pounds, but I don't know how accurate that was looking back at it because it doesn't look that big, but I'm not too sure. And then that is when I started coming to this pond. So after I caught my first carp and my first perch, I came to this pond. This pond's literally like a probably 7-minute walk from my house, and there's a pond here and there's about 6 other ponds down the way that you can walk to, but this is one that I fished because I used to always see people fishing it. And all you need to do in the summer, you come here with a maggot, you chuck your rod in and you'll be catching gudgeon, perch, roach and even little tiny carp all day long. And so many people come and just chuck random fish in this pond, so you don't know what you get. I've caught goldfish from here, I've caught a little tiny carp, as I've said, loads of people put little baby carp in here. I've caught koi from here. There's all sorts in this little pond. So this is a wildlife centre. Basically it is I think it's classed as wildlife centre, so it's just an open walking range where loads of people can walk. So there is quite a lot of people walking around today. But yeah, this pond is basically where it started, and I've loved this pond ever since. And my next video will actually be at this pond, so if you want to stay tuned for that, go in the comments down below and I'll give you a hint. KSI and Logan Paul's new prime drink doesn't follow up with fishing, but it will make sense when you see the video. So I'm filming that video tomorrow, but maybe not. Coming here today and seeing this lake's completely froze, I don't know if I will be filming it tomorrow, so we will have to see with that. So here you can see a bit of a better shot of this beautiful pond. So it's literally tiny. It's probably like a 1/12 of an acre. It is small, but you won't believe how many different types and how many cool species there are on this pond. I think the stocks have depleted quite a lot over the years, but in the summer the water level drops loads and there's probably about a metre of water in the middle, but all this exterior bit like over there, that's all mud there up to probably about there. So you can see all the fish in here, and I really want to like come and find out, like catch as many fish as I can from this pond and find out what actually lives in here. Maybe cast net it, but I don't think that's actually legal in the UK, so I won't do that. But I really want to find out everything that's in this pond and find out more about it. But I used to come here, as I said, after school every night with like 4 of my mates who I got into fishing at the time. But most of them don't fish now. I'm basically the only one left who fishes. And we used to come here, cast rods about, and I will show you some of the fish if I can find any old pictures of the fish that we caught from here on the screen now. So yes, that is basically what we caught from here. Nothing big, nothing ridiculously small, but I think most of them pictures will just be gudgeon, roach, different, maybe a couple perch. And so after I fished here, I wanted to get back into carp fishing, but I didn't really know how. So I heard about a farm lake, and this farmer owns this little lake, and it's the other side of the city, other side of the town from where I live. So it's probably a 15-minute drive the other direction. And I went there one night with a couple of mates again, and we go to this little pond and we say to the farmer, what's best? He said, literally put a hook on the end of your line and a piece of bread. And we're like, a hook and a piece of bread? Last time I went carp fishing, they were doing all this stuff with leads and pop-ups. I was like, okay, we'll try it, we'll see if it works. So we get to this pond and we cast this hook and bread in there. Probably after 3 minutes, we get a carp on, and it's a little carp, probably about this big, and I've got loads of pictures of them, so I'll show them on the screen now. So that's one of the carp that I caught from that lake. There was also tench in the lake. I never caught a tench, but my mate did. And yes, I remember getting on that on one certain day with Rob, if everyone remembers Rob. That's mainly who I started fishing with as well, and Rob used to do this channel with me, but he doesn't anymore. So the first main fish so I remember getting one day with Rob, and we had 16 fish between us, but we were there for like 4 hours. All we do, cast the bread on the surface, put the rod down on a bank stick, not even a line, for 3 minutes. After 2 minutes, carp comes off of the surface. It only works in summer, really. I've never been to that pond since. I used to go like every week for probably a couple months, but I haven't been to that pond since. And if you want to see me go back to that pond, do a bit of float fishing and a bit of just free lining with bread and a hook, let me know in the comments down below, and I can go back and take you on a memory trip lane. So from that lake, I was using my float rods. So when I got a carp on, my float rod was bent in half, so I thought, let's upgrade. So I got my first Shimano TX2 12 foot 2.75 LB test curve. So this rod was very, very big for this small lake with these little carp in. So I didn't mention this, but that lake that we fished was probably double the size of this, tops. Maximum size, double the size of this. It was deep. It was probably about 20 feet deep. That's how deep it was in that little tiny pond. But that was ridiculous. So I got my TX2, and then my next step after that pond was doing some real carp fishing. So the actual leads, the actual pop-ups, all the proper stuff. But when I say proper stuff, it wasn't really proper stuff, because we were just starting out. I swear I ordered some hair rigs from Wish at one point, and I actually caught carp on them, surprisingly. But after here and Bostocks, which is the farmer's lake name, I headed, my next destination was this lake now. Right, so here we are now at Opencast, my local lake, and you've probably seen a lot of videos here, because this is my local lake, and if I literally look into the distance, I can see my house. So it's very easy, and I can just walk here considering I can't drive. So get my barrow, do a big walk up a giant hill, and I'm here. It's hard, but worth it. So this lake is stocked with quite a lot of carp, ranging from anywhere between probably £5, maybe. I've never caught a carp less than £5 or even £5, but I'm sure there's some £5 in here. From £5 to about 22 in the summer at their peaks. So the nicest fish I've ever had from this lake is this fish on the screen now. Yeah, I'm definitely hooked, but I think it's a bream. Oh. Come on, finally got a fish. And it's a nice fish, it's very, very long. Indeed, it is long, so let's have a quick peek at it in the net.
Not going to leave me hanging, are you?
Oh, sorry about that, Matt. Nice one, Matt. Let's see what she weighs. 15.7. That's not bad at all. But nice and chunky fish. What we're going to do now is stick in the sling for a bit while we get the camera stuff ready for a good angle and some good pictures. So let's put it back in the water just for a couple of minutes as we sort this out. Right, so we've got this absolutely stunning £15.7, wasn't it?
Yeah, £15.
Absolutely mega fish, and I'm super chuffed. And at first I thought this fish was a double take. I lifted my left hand rod up first, which this fish was on, and then my right hand rod side beep, and I was like, Matt, I think I'm on a double take here. But it turns out. But when I first started, so this is how I started carp fishing. So let's go back to when I first came and fished this pond. Actually, let's rewind even further, because you know how I said I didn't pick up a fishing rod till I went fishing with my mate and his dad after school. I just found out that was a lie. I remember coming here on like Christmas Day, and my dad used to always have these float fishing rods in the garage. My dad's never really been a fisherman, but on holidays and stuff, he loves doing a bit of sea fishing with me and stuff like that. And he has came to fish this lake with me a couple of times himself. And that's who I used to come to this lake with and fish with, because I wasn't old enough to night fish on my own. My dad used to stay the night with me. He didn't fish, he just stayed the night with me. A good dad, I know. So he used to come with me in -4 degrees, shivering, jump in the car at night, warm himself up, come back in the tent and go back asleep. So he used to do that. But I remember probably about 8 years ago now, I was probably like 8 years old, and I'm currently 16, nearly 17. I came to this lake on like a Christmas Eve or something. I didn't have the permit for it this time, but I didn't know it needed a permit. But I literally just came with a little float rod, chucked in a float for about 20 minutes and went home. But I do remember doing that. The lake was frozen, we broke a little hole in it with a stick, and I tried that. But first time I came carp fishing, this is it. This is the lake, this is where it started, and this was the first ever fish I caught from this lake on the screen now. So that was a decent fish for my first fish, and as I said, that fish was probably caught on a Wish hair rig, something stupid like that, or some just terribly made or cheap rigs from the tackle shop. And my rig systems was terrible, and I used to spend as much money as I can on good bait and good pop-ups, even though my rig presentation was absolutely appalling. But somehow I caught a lot of fish. I used to catch more fish then here than I do now. I think it's because this lake's been pressured for so long now. In the summer, this lake is full. 13 fishable pegs. So this lake gets very full in the summer, and it is actually quite hard to fish it. But when I first started carp fishing here, it didn't used to get that packed often, and I used to come here with the Rob, and we'd have like 6 or 7 fish in a night between us, which is absolutely amazing for this lake. In my past couple of videos, I've been up this lake fishing, and I have blanked each time. So I think I need to go back to my Wish hair rigs at this point. But the winter, this lake is very hard. It does a lot better in summer, and like if I came fish this now, I would more than likely blank. So yeah, this is where I started, and I'll put a couple of fish on the screen now from when I first started fishing here with Rob, and show you some of mine and Rob's fish that we caught from here. So as you can see, there's a couple good fish there. I think I weighed one of them being 19 pounds, but I forgot to zero the sling. Obviously a big beginner mistake there. And it was probably more like 13 pounds to be honest. It was a nice fish anyway. But yeah, that is basically it. So after I came fishing here for a while, I gained a load of subs from it. I started smashing it out. I was on my quest for a 20-pounder, which I've never actually hit here. I've still not got a 20-pounder from this lake, which is quite hard because there's probably about 3 in the lake. So, so it's a bit more of a challenge than you may think. So after this lake, I started expanding. I went to Morton Fisheries, which is a lake in Congleton, and I love that lake. I went one day doing a session called Instagram Controls My Fishing. It'll be in the top right icon right now. So if you want to check out that video, make sure you do. But that video was really, really cool, and I ended up catching 6 fish in a session. And anything that I wanted to do, I had to ask Instagram if I can do it. So if I said, do I keep my rod in the same spot or move it? Do I use this bait or this bait? Do I use this hook or this hook? This rig or this rig? And Instagram controlled it, and for some reason I've only caught, that's the most fish I've ever caught from that lake, the biggest being 23 pounds that I caught that night. And it was an amazing session, and I really enjoyed it. It's still one of my favourite videos from today. Then after that, I went and filmed a video with Carpology with Mistralbaits, and that was really, really good. I had my PB fish, 27 pounds and 2 ounces on the screen now, and then that is a stunning fish. And Rob also caught his PB at 26 pounds. I think it was like 26 pounds and 12 ounces also on the screen now. And me and Rob absolutely loved that session, and unfortunately soon after that, me and Rob went France, did a bit of fishing there, which was amazing. We used to catch like 10 fish in a day from France, nothing big, but all wild carp in this lake that no one fishes. It's literally, we had to ask farmers permission to fish it, and we could fish it, and it was really good, and it was really exciting to do. On that same France trip, me and Rob decided to go our separate ways. So Rob went off to do some barbering, and I carried on doing the YouTube channel, and it has slowed down over the couple months, but I'm bringing it back now, and I've got some exciting stuff coming, so make sure you stay tuned, because I've got a lot of new stuff coming, and it will be really, really cool. So that is going to be about it for this week's video. So after France, I came back on my own, slowed down for a couple months, tried a couple new things, tried Lost and Fishing Reacts, which didn't work, but now I've got a new channel for Lost and Fishing Reacts, and I'm going to go film a video tomorrow on my Reacts channel. So if you want to see Lost and Fishing Reacts, where I react to funny fishing fails, crazy carp catches, the biggest fish in the world, crazy stuff like that, go in the link in the description and check that out. But I think that'll be all for this week's video, so thank you very much for watching this week's video. If you want to see any videos, let me know in the comments down below. I've got some really cool ideas recently, and as I said, I'm going to film a cool video tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you want to see some more videos at this lake, if you want to see more videos of Morton Fisheries, let me know in the comments down below. If you've got lake suggestions, I'll try to do it, but not too far. I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, as you can probably tell, and I currently can't drive, but I turn 17 very soon, and it's going to open up so many opportunities for carp fishing. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch you in next week's video. Also, I post Saturdays 12 o'clock every week starting from now. Let's do it.